Hi, and welcome to the Complete Geek. I'm John Schofield. You can call me Scof. So we're going to go over an introduction to the command line today. You can think of this as conversational command line. We're not going to go into the history or the technical background or the deep underpinnings of any of this. It's simply an introduction to get you started, get you conversational or the beginning of conversational command line fluency. The first thing I'm going to do is make a directory with the mkdir command, mkdir. Feel free, by the way, to pause. I'm going to go through these commands slowly, and then I'm going to repeat them quickly. You should be able to follow the quick version if you follow the slow version. Feel free to pause or rewind in either the slow introduction or the quick review. Okay. mkdir, and we're going to make a lesson uno directory. I used an underscore instead of a space. Don't use spaces for at least the first 12 months that you're learning the command line. Don't use spaces in a file name until you can articulate to me exactly why you're using spaces in a file name. The spaces in file names are a bag of pain, especially to people who are just getting started with programming in the command line. So we're going to make a lesson uno directory. We're going to change directory to lesson uno. And instead of typing out lesson uno, we are going to hit tab, and we're going to let tab completion complete that lesson uno directory name for us. We're going to do that because we don't want to get carpal tunnel. And I assure you, you don't want carpal tunnel either. Now we are in the lesson uno directory. You can see that from the prompt here, which as configured on my computer shows me what directory I'm in. You can also do the pwd command, present working directory, and that'll show you exactly where you are. I am in the home folder for the Scof user. This is on a Mac laptop, so it's /users/Scof, and we are in the lesson uno folder of the Scof folder of the users folder. And we're going to ls to show us the contents of this folder. This folder has no contents, which makes sense because we just created it. Let's create some files in it. And we're going to create those files with the touch command, touch. Touch, and you simply enter the touch command and then a space and then the name of the file that you want to create. It creates an empty file, and if the file already exists, then the touch utility will change the modification date of the file to touch it. So we're going to touch peach, we're going to touch pear, we're going to touch grape. And now if we do an ls, we have some files in there. We can also do options to commands in order to change how they behave. So there is a long format option for ls. If you do ls-l, it shows you the long format directory listing, shows you the permissions for the file, and we'll talk about that later. The number of the hard links to the file, we'll cover that later. The user that owns the file, in this case, that's me, Scof. The group that owns the file, in this case, that's the staff group. The size of the file in bytes, because we just created these three files with touch, their sizes are 0. The date and time the file was created, and then the name of the file. That's what you get with a long directory listing, or ls-l. You can also combine options. For instance, you can combine the L option with A to list all files. You'll see there are 2 additional files listed. They're actually directories. There's a dot and dot dot. These are present in every directory. These are shortcuts pointing to either the current directory, the dot, or the parent directory, the dot dot. The parent directory of lesson uno is Scof. The parent directory of Scof is users. We're in lesson uno, so dot refers to lesson uno, refers to itself, and dot dot refers to the parent directory Scof. Now with the -a option, we see all 5 files here: grape, peach, pair, and dot, the shortcut to the current directory, and dot dot, the shortcut to the parent directory. We can also add the dash F, capital F in this case, option, which simply adds a little bit of explanation at the end of each line to tell you what kind of file it is. What kind of file are these? A directory. These have nothing after them because they're simply normal files. And we'll see the F option become even more useful when we start dealing with symbolic links later in another lesson. So I'm going to make another directory. I'm going to make a directory called turnip. I'm going to make it with mkdir because that's the command we use. And I'm going to make the turnip directory. Now I do ls-lf. That's going to give me a long listing. It's going to show me the explanation of what each line is, but I didn't include a, so it's not going to show me all files. It's not going to show me the files starting with a dot. And there we have grape, peach, pear, and turnip with a slash after turnip indicating that it's a directory. Let's cd to turnip. Again, I'm tab completing, and now we're in turnip. There's no files here. And I'm going to make a file. I'm going to touch turnip roots.txt, again, not using spaces. I'm going to change back to the parent directory with cd dot dot, and then I am going to rmdir turnip. Now, something you need to know about the rm remove directory command is that it will only remove an empty directory. And that's a very good safety check for you at this point in your level of experience with the command line. There are ways to remove directories with files in them that we'll cover later, but for now, here's how you handle it. So we're going to try to do an rmdir turnip, and instead of just nothing, which is what every other command gives us, if we say make dir turnip, and it's successful, it doesn't give us any output. It just makes the directory. It only gives us output if there is an error. And here we're going to have an error. We're going to read the error. rmdir, what directory did we try to remove? The turnip directory. And what was the error? Directory not empty. Do we have a file in there? cd turnip ls, and we do. We have turnip roots. So we're going to remove turnip roots with the rm for remove command. We're going to add the -i for interactive option, and we're going to tab complete. Now we are removing the turnip roots file, and we are removing it with the -i option, which means it's going to ask us if we're sure. We're going to add a little bit of a safety check with the -i option. It is going to ask us if we're sure we want to remove turnip roots. We're going to hit Y and then enter, and it does it. ls, and the directory is empty. cd dot dot to change to the parent directory, and we are going to rmdir turnip with the rmdir command, and it is gone. ls, and all we have is grape, peach, and pear. Let's remove another file just for practice, rm peach. Oh, but look at this. I typed in PEA and hit tab, and it did not, it doesn't have enough information to know which word I'm trying to tab complete, because peach and pear start the same. So I'm going to add a C, and then it knows that I mean peach. I'm going to hit enter, and because I didn't use the -i, it just deletes it. And now the only files left in the directory are grape and pear. And I think that's the end of lesson number 1. Come back next week and we'll do lesson number 2. I'm Scof. Thanks very much for listening.